Next up, we have Joel Sussmann. Sussmann, sorry. Thank you, Joel. You'll have 3 minutes.
Before I begin, I would ask the chair, in the previous motion before this committee.
Sorry, you'll have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Several of the speakers exceeded 3 minutes, and you let them go beyond. I would ask you to apply your justice equally, sir.
You have your 3 minutes. Thank you.
I have not begun to speak, and the clock is at 10. Thank you for resetting the clock, sir. I am here to defend our right to informed consent, a parent's right to make medical decisions for our children, and bodily sovereignty. My wife, Margaret, and I do this in the name of our vaccine-injured son, Mark, who received 3 hepatitis B vaccines in grade 7. His normal brain function was compromised, shattering all our lives forever. A policy of denial. In 1984, the Federal Register, the official journal of the U.S. government containing agency rules and public notices, stated the following about the polio vaccine. Any possible doubts, whether or not well-founded, cannot be allowed to exist. Here's a quote. It has become increasingly clear that medical revisionism is at the root of this hysteria. By this, I mean the manipulation of historical and epidemiological facts in order to drive a specific agenda. The agenda is about inflating the fear of ordinary, beneficial childhood diseases while denying vaccine risks and failure. Suppressed is the fact that vaccine-derived immunity wanes over time, leaving swaths of people susceptible to measles. It's about demonizing the disease in order to erase societal memory of the long-term benefit of natural herd immunity previously enjoyed by the vast majority of people, now decimated by mass vaccination. Etta West, President, Vaccine Choice Canada. This Statistics Canada mortality table I'm holding up, the takeaway from this table is, for the 20-year period between 1990 and 2009, the annual number of deaths from measles in Canada has either been 0 or 1. This means the chance of death by measles for any Canadian is either 0 or 1 in 33 million. The risk is infinitesimal and is actually much lower than the risk of serious damage from MMR vaccines. A summary of this agenda item stated, vaccine hesitancy, the reluctance or refusal to vaccinate despite the availability of vaccines is growing in Canada. To that I say, you never speak to the question of safety of vaccines, which is what causes the reluctance and hesitation and refusal to vaccinate in the first place. You then state it stems in large part from misinformation about vaccines that spreads on social media platforms and the internet. In April, I addressed this committee. Everything I said was scientifically verifiable information. It was not misinformation. It was missed information that you so routinely censor and desperately wish would never see the light of day. Toronto's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Eileen Davila, in the summary of her list of recommendations stated, to respond to this growing threat, Dr. Davila, there is no threat, unless you wish to claim that the Statistics Canada mortality table I just held up and quoted from is also misinformation. Vaccination is not evidence-based medicine. It is ideology and effectively a religion. We insist on science being done as the basis for our medicine. Let's be clear, the work of science has nothing to do with consensus. Consensus is the business of politics. My family and I will not consent to the loss of our rights and freedoms, which are guaranteed by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the Deputy? Seeing none, thank you very much. Our next